Hi, Hannah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, thanks for meeting with me again today. I know this has been a long process, but I feel like that we have uncovered some things that could benefit your company, and I hope you have been educated like I have about your company through the process.
Yeah, I've learned quite a bit from you.
Good. I know that we had talked last time, and just to kind of go through the scenario again, I mean, we started off by having our first meeting interview. We kind of uncovered your needs. I learned about your company, what you do, because who knows more about your company than you do, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. From there, I got a copy of your policies. I went over them with my team. We came up with a series of questions, and of course I called you on the phone, and we had that interview where you answered some questions that I had concerning your policies about your company. That leads us to where we are now, because we had our last meeting where we discussed kind of our findings, and we laid for you the blueprint of what we think is the best possible path your business can take. And during that meeting, you had a few questions about work comp. Some things on there maybe confused you a little bit, and I told you I'd get back to you, and we would have a kind of a sit down and talk about work comp a little bit. When you were in college, do you remember when you had a book to read and you went to the bookstore and you got the Cliff's Notes version so you would have to read the whole book?
Mm-hmm. I lived by those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I've created here, this is the Cliff's Note versions, per se, of Kentucky work comp. It kind of gives you a brief snapshot of how work comp works. Hopefully it'll benefit you a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But if we can start here at the top, we see the death benefit for, God forbid, somebody in your company's at work and they die. Their surviving dependents would get $69,916.52. That might help some, but that's not a huge sum of money. So in Kentucky, concerning work comp, they would just assume that the person died because they don't have to pay out a bunch of money.
Yeah, I've had claims larger than that before.
Yeah, and that's not a large amount of money by any stretch. I've seen some of your policies. You, as the business owner, you currently exclude yourself, don't you,
mm-hmm.
from work comp? And what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I was just trying to save money. When we started up, things were tight, so
sure.
any way I could save some money, I could.
And we see that a lot. And a lot of times, even the agent will suggest to the business owner to exclude themselves for that reason, to save some money.
Yeah, mine did.
Yeah, and being a business owner, we can classify you as a clerical person. 26 cents for every $100 of income earned. Not a large sum of money. Pretty inexpensive for great coverage. Work comp is probably the greatest insurance that's written. Because if you get hurt on the job right now, say you're walking across your office and you trip over the computer cord, you fall and break a leg. Currently, how are you going to pay for that?
I hope my health insurance would pay for it.
Okay, you have health insurance. That means you have a deductible,
right?
A copay.
Yeah.
Work comp, if you include yourself, which we can do very inexpensively, no copay, no deductible, and look at this, they pay 100% of the medical expenses for the rest of your life.
So what if I'm not doing clerical work, even though you said that's how you could classify me? Am I still going to be covered?
Being the business owner, we can classify you as a clerical position. Say you're driving from your business site to your satellite office, and you get injured in a car wreck there. You're technically at work, so you'd be covered in your work comp.
Okay.
Okay. So like I said, it is a great source of income if you are to get injured on the job. Now, God forbid you don't, because we don't want you to obviously get hurt. But also, we had talked about ways that we could we could possibly save you money on work comp, and you wondered how we could do that, and just a couple of things here. If you have an employee who has a medical claim, they get injured on the job, and it's a medical payment claim, if that claim, if you monitor that claim, and we'll help you do that, if it's settled within the first 7 days, then all you have is their medical payments. And if they don't get it to day 8, which is the indemnity period, which means they're going to start getting money for being at home, which is where we see the increase in your mod, and we see open claims, and some claims that we noticed on your policy that were a little bit over a year old, and those folks were already back to work, and those claims were still open.
Now, do they get 100% of their salary? So I'm going to have to be paying double to pay somebody to fill their spot, and then.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you asked that, because if they're at home and they're off work comp pays them 2/3 of their salary, or $711 a week, whichever is less. So that's what they'll get. Now, we had also talked about having that return to work program.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, someone cuts their finger out on one of your machines, and they have to go get stitches, and they're off work for a few days. Say they're off work for 3 weeks because they can't operate that machine. They can't operate that machine, but hopefully they have something else at the office that they could do. File papers, something. A return to work program. So that way, you're not getting into day 8. You don't have to, the indemnity period does not kick in. So those claims are closed within the first 7 days.
So they just have to be doing something.
They have to be doing something at work. It's a return to work program.
Okay. Yeah, we could find something for them to do.
Good. And that's just one way that we can help save money on your work comp. There's a variety of things that we can discuss in order to do that. And also, one other thing, if it is settled in the first 70 days, of course, you get a 70% reduction on your mod with that account if it's closed within those first 7 days.
And you don't get it if it goes into the 8th?
If you go into day 8, you miss that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another reason why you or one of your support staff can monitor those claims to make sure that they're closed within those first 7 days. It's a pretty important deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see by looking at your mod now that those are some things that haven't been monitored in the past. Maybe your agent just didn't know to do it, or maybe he or she forgot to do it, or whatever. But those are things that, when you hire us as your agent, we're your teammate, we're your partner, and we will protect your business and help you to make sure that those claims are closed in the first 7 days in a timely fashion.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I want to leave this with you. You can kind of read it over. If you do have any other questions, feel free to call me.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're still on schedule for next Wednesday.
Yep.
And we'll come back in with our final blueprint for your business and get you started up on the right track.
Sounds great.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hannah. Have a great day.
You too.